Hello there, friends. Welcome to episode 14 of That One Gaming Podcast. I'm Colin, otherwise known as Delicious Morsels, and here with me today we've got Lucas, aka Carnival9. How you doing today, Lucas?
I'm doing good.
All right, and we've also got Neil, better known as VMK89. How you doing, Neil?
I'm doing good as well.
All right, so today, we fasten our seatbelts and fling some shells as we give our ranking to the much beloved and long-running Mario Kart series. The series recently celebrated its 30th birthday, and we thought it'd be a great time to weigh in and provide our thoughts on each mainline entry to the series. So prepare yourselves, because this is likely going to be a pretty spicy episode.
I have opinions.
Yes, we all have some opinions.
I do too.
But before we get into
childhoods today.
Yep.
Yes, we're gonna probably ruin somebody's childhood, I'm sure.
Yep.
Probably mine.
Yep.
But before we get into that, let's go over what we have been playing for these last couple weeks. So, Lucas, kick it off. What have you been playing?
Well, Mario Kart, naturally.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got 30 years worth of Mario Kart games to catch up on, but also Guilty Gear. And I got 3 more fighting games down the pipeline, too, so.
Yeah, because you just picked up, what was it, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, and then Injustice 1 and 2?
Yep.
I almost bought Injustice, but I was like, I literally just got that for free from PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. But if you get it on PC, you can fight me.
Yeah. But I mean,
unless it's cross-platform.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Cross-platform with Sony is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I mean, the MK11 and Injustice 2 was a combo deal for $20 for both games.
Yeah, that's a freaking good deal.
Yeah. And then Injustice 1 was $5, so how could I not?
Right. Yeah, I would also recommend, like, there's a big WB publisher sale going on Steam right now. I don't know if it'll still be going on by the time this episode goes live, but yeah, so like the Arkham games, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, the Shadow of Mordor series, like those are all marked down really, really, really cheap. And
yeah.
I would also recommend picking up the Arkham games if you have not already, because Asylum and City are probably 2 of my favorite superhero games of all time. The other ones, after they dropped Kevin Conroy off as the voice actor for Batman, I just kind of ignored. But Asylum and City are very, very solid. And they actually like use that as a blueprint for a lot of modern games nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard good things about those games.
They're really good. I think, for some reason, I didn't have Arkham Asylum in my Steam library yet, so I picked that up today. It was like $5. I mean,
Yeah.
for that. I mean, you cannot go wrong for $5, and I think Arkham City is like $8. And you can get all of the Arkham games. Well, Origin isn't in there for whatever reason, but I think you get Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight plus the Arkham Knight Season Pass for like, I think it was like $8, $9. That's a lot of value.
Yeah, Steam sales lead to a lot of really good value for buying games, but also an overabundance of games, so it leads you to a situation of all of these games that you might never play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm interested in fighting games, so these games have slightly higher priority.
I mean, you might as well. So, aside from Mario Kart, what have you been playing, Neil?
Well, aside from Mario Kart 8, I've been playing Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Game Boy Advance.
Neil! We've all been playing Mario Kart! We played so much Mario Kart. So much.
Neil does pretty regularly play Mario Kart.
He does.
What are we playing?
Yeah.
That is true.
So yeah, aside from Mario Kart, I played a little bit of Minecraft, and also I played a bit of Ark, Survival Evolved.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. My friends have a server that they've been playing on for a while and have been wanting me to join them, but I did not have enough hard drive space for Ark because it's like 120 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder where you got more hard drive space from.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone with a name that starts with L, I think. I forget who it was. I think
Luigi's number one.
Hey, Luigi.
But yeah, I've played a little bit of Ark. It's all right. I still prefer Minecraft, but Minecraft has been perfected over like 10 years. So
yeah,
that's
I've always been interested in Ark at a glance, but I've just never actually installed it and tried it. They gave it away free on Steam a little while back, so I have it.
Right.
But I just haven't gotten around to playing it.
Yeah, if you have enough space, it's like a more realistic Minecraft with dinosaurs.
No Vin Diesel yet, though. Vin Diesel's coming in the sequel.
Ooh.
Yes.
With family.
That is correct.
Complete with family.
One thing I have found is it is glitchy like early Minecraft days. Like you'll fall through the floor and stuff.
Nice.
Especially in multiplayer. I don't know about single player.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely fun to play with friends and nice change up from Minecraft.
Right.
Without getting like too far away from it. Playing something like, I don't know, Mario Kart.
Right. As for me, I've been playing a lot of things like off and on lately, but the things that I've mainly been playing more frequently, I picked up Atelier Ryza recently, which is a JRPG published by Koei Tecmo, developed by the studio Gust. It's pretty interesting. They just announced in the last Nintendo Direct that there is a third Atelier Ryza game coming up, and that game looked really interesting, caught my eye, so I wanted to pick up the first one and see if it was something I would be into, and I really like it. It's a very cozy RPG. Like, that's literally the best way I can describe it, is it's really cozy. Like, there's no, like, world-threatening danger. There's no like big evil monstrosity that you had to go and fight. It's not your typical JRPG where you're a bunch of teenagers and you fight God at the end of the game or anything like that. It's just really relaxing. Literally, the game starts out, Ryza and her two friends are like, man, we're really bored. Let's go on an adventure. And that's how the game starts out.
Interesting.
And like they're just average kids. Like, they don't have any skills in combat really or anything. So like they get into the wilderness and start fighting monsters, and then they get a little in over their head, and a couple characters come and save the day, and they do it with the power of alchemy. So the Atelier series, the central mechanic in the Atelier series is alchemy. And that's kind of what bonds them all together. So you just gather up a bunch of materials and you mix them all together and you do alchemy stuff. So the funny thing is, like, when they got into this little predicament and they get rescued by a couple of alchemists, Ryza is this like really, really bubbly character, and she's just like, wow, that was so cool. I want to learn alchemy now. So she becomes an alchemist, and I think I've got like 5 hours into the game so far. Like, it's, as far as the story goes, it's a very, very slow rolling game. Like I said, it's very cozy. It's not, there aren't any like really high stakes. You just kind of, you go around, you gather stuff, you make stuff with some alchemy, you go and you fight some monsters, then you just kind of repeat this loop as the story kind of slowly progresses. And I'm really enjoying it. As far as like JRPGs go, it's nice to have one where it doesn't feel like the world is going to end if you fail or something like that. It's just kind of take it at your own pace type thing, which is pretty unique as JRPGs go.
Yeah.
And I've also been playing, I actually just finished it this morning because it's not a very long game, but the first Bayonetta game got a physical release this past Friday, and I picked it up and finally got to play through that, and it's a good game. Bayonetta is freaking awesome. Like, it's the most, like, Platinum Games is known for their over-the-top action games, like Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, especially. But Bayonetta takes it to a whole other level. It's just absolute ridiculousness. The final level, spoilers for a game that's over a decade old now, I guess. The last level starts out with you riding a motorcycle up the side of a rocket that is shooting off into space. And at the top of the rocket is a statue. And once you reach the statue becomes God. You fight God. And then at the end of the fight, you punch it so hard that it sends it flying through the solar system and into the sun.
All right.
It's just absolutely over the top. So ridiculous, and I love it. This game is amazing. If you haven't played Bayonetta yet, I highly recommend this game. It's so good. I can't wait to play through Bayonetta 2. That's next on my agenda. I picked it up waiting for 1 to get the physical release to play through it. And Bayonetta 3 comes out at the end of October. I'm so excited. It's like one of the best action games out there. It's so ridiculous good. Anyway, we've all been playing Mario Kart, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
We've all been playing a lot of Mario Kart.
And now it is time for us to verbally assault each other over Mario Kart.
This may very well be the final episode of that one gaming podcast.
It's been a
We're
good
no
run.
longer friends.
It's been a good run, guys. But we should probably throw out there. So our ranking criteria. We ranked these games from S all the way down to D. So there's no F this time, unlike our previous ranking. Like, there's like Mario Kart's, even bad Mario Kart is still decent in its own way. So there's like no absolute terrible F, but there is one that is really close, and we'll get to that.
But yeah,
so,
Mario Kart's like pizza. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. So, S's are obviously, I mean, it's S tier. They're the best of the best. A tiers, they're still really, really good, but there's just a couple little minor imperfections that knock them down a step. B tiers are not your first pick, but if someone's playing one of these, you're like, hey, I'll play some Mario Kart. C tier is when the imperfections are really starting to show and they really affect your enjoyment of the game. And D tier is just the ones you just actively try to avoid them. I mean, they're still not terrible games for what they are, but they're just not as fun as the rest of the games in the series. And also, just a quick reminder, we're not going to be talking about any of the 3 arcade releases in this episode, since to really experience them as they were meant to be played, it would require actually playing them in an arcade, which is something, unfortunately, none of us really have access to.
Yeah.
And also, we're not going to be discussing Mario Kart Live Home Circuit because while it's a cool novelty with the RC car and the cameras and all that, ain't nobody around here got $100 to fork out for that. So, anyway, kicking it off with the OG Mario Kart released in 1992. Recently celebrated its 30th birthday. We got Super Mario Kart, which made use of Nintendo's Mode 7 for the Super NES. Lucas ranked it at C. Neil, you ranked it at... Oh, this is gonna... We're off to a bad start already. Neil, you ranked it at D.
Yeah.
I ranked it at A, because this was my original Mario Kart, the first one I ever played. And yes, it's a bit rough around the edges, but honestly, I think just on cultural impact alone, giving it anything less than an A for literally the original kart racer is a travesty and blasphemous.
This sounds like you yelling at me about not liking Pokemon Red and Blue anymore.
Yep. It's exactly the same.
Like,
Well, yep.
I understand that this is the game that kickstarted the kart racing game genre, basically. But there's just so many more Mario Karts that just do Mario Kart so much better.
There are, but they're all built on the foundation provided by Super Mario Kart.
I almost want to disagree with that statement. They were built on the foundation that Mario Kart 64 was built on.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
like,
there
Mario
wouldn't have
Kart
been
64 is where Mario Kart actually came into a formula that's used today. Other than Mario Kart Super Circuit, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game, but when I was playing it back for this ranking list, I did end up just stopping after, I think, 100cc Flower Cup, because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I've experienced this game. Doesn't feel any different.
Yeah, I started on 50cc on the Mushroom Cup, and initially it was like, oh, this is an SNES game, and it doesn't feel good. Then by the end of Mushroom Cup, I was like, this is all right. I might end up liking this. I was trying to come in with an open mind. So I switched to 100cc for the Flower Cup, and then it was just like downhill from there.
100cc is where it gets a little rough because, like,
Yeah.
it's almost like every character has a rival character, because it seems like there's always, like, it's different every single, like, with every character you play, it seems, but there's always one character that's, like, glued to your tail end the entire way through in 100cc.
Honestly, I think that's something that's kind of been consistent for me throughout the entire series. It's just like always one character every Grand Prix will be that one person that wants to take me down.
I think it was more prevalent in the earlier Mario Karts, but I think later on in the series, after Mario Kart 64, I think they kind of, I won't say they got rid of it, but they made adjustments to it. But like in Super, they literally they stick to you. And one notable thing about this one in particular is that the NPC characters don't pick up item boxes, but they all have their own unique items.
Yeah, it's programmed weird.
And they don't really have any, how would I describe it? They don't, like, they can basically just use them ad infinitum.
Yeah.
Really, because like I was playing through as I was playing with Luigi, and I kept having Yoshi on my back, and Yoshi has a little egg that he can either shoot behind him or shoot out in front of you, and he was just like unloading. It's like every couple seconds the bottom half of the screen would switch to the rear view mirror, and Yoshi would be sitting there priming that egg, and then he'd just go pew, just shoot the little egg up in front of me, and I have to dodge it and bow and weave around it.
Right. So looking at the wiki here, there is, like, each character does have a rival, and it doesn't change between races. Because, like, they do that in future Mario Kart games, where there's every cup you play, there's one character that's always behind you, but it's a random character every time you play through. Like, so, like, once you complete the cup, it switches to Peach instead of Mario. But yeah, it's in 64, or not 64, this one, SNES, Mario Kart 1, it's like Luigi has Yoshi, Toad has the Princess Peach. That was the one I kept seeing.
Yeah.
Princess Peach's ability is fun because it's that little mushroom that shrinks you. I always wanted to use that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to be able to use that myself as a kid, and I was like always upset that they didn't have like a unique item thing in the item blocks for you to pick up.
Yeah, and
it always seems like it was there, but I never picked one up, and it's like, man, I want the unique thing. I want to do the little shrinky mushroom because it's fun.
Yeah, Toad also does the mushrooms, but doesn't look like you can grab them yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is part of what I was saying. Like the formula for this is very different from what the formula is by the time like Mario Kart Wii and ongoing past that was.
Yeah,
Like they were
Mario
still
Kart.
figuring it out, and the
Yeah,
hardware limitations probably trapped them with things they couldn't do until they got to the 64.
yeah. Like I'm guessing the main reason that NPC characters were given their own unique items and didn't interact with the item blocks is probably a memory thing, if anything.
Probably.
Mhm.
Because then the game would have had to also have additional code in there to be able to reference at all times what each individual character had as their items as they drove over item blocks. And it was already doing so much at the time already as it was with the Mode 7 and all that.
Yeah.
It was probably just a memory thing.
It is a very visually impressive game for a Super Nintendo game.
Yes.
It's one of the showcases of Mode 7, I would say. Other ones being F-Zero.
A better racing.
Yes. And what was I going to say? Also, Final Fantasy VI makes a really good use of Mode 7.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some Mega Man X Mode 7 that they apparently couldn't properly emulate in Mega Man X Collection on the GameCube.
Interesting.
At least if memory serves.
Huh. All right, though. Where are we going to put this one then? I will concede that it is not an A. I am not ready to put it below Super Circuit.
Oh, it does
for
not
reasons
go below Super Circuit at all.
For reasons we will get to when we get to Super Circuit.
I put Super Circuit above.
Weird flex, but okay.
If anything else, like Mario Kart Super aged better than Super Circuit, I feel. It still looks good today, where Super Circuit, partially because it was crunched down on a GBA,
Yeah.
but I mean it's not very attractive to look at. But we'll get to that when we get to Super Circuit. Let's place Super Mario Kart. I'll meet you in the middle and put it at C.
I'm fine with that.
I will begrudgingly put my childhood all the way down there for you. Because yes, objectively there are better ones, but the original, it's
it's a Super Nintendo game that I still want to this day.
You don't have a copy of Mario Kart?
I don't.
I have officially owned 2 more copies of Mario Kart than you in my life then.
I know.
Because unfortunately my original copy from my childhood was lost in my parents' barn collapsing. Don't ask me why it was in the barn. I don't know. A few of my games were, and they were lost to time. But I recently rebought Mario Kart because it's Mario Kart.
Yeah.
All right. Moving right along to our next Mario Kart game, we got Mario Kart 64.
All right, time to drag my childhood.
Here we go! Now it's your turn. Released on the Nintendo 64 in 1997, or 1996 if you lived in Japan, because it came out in December that year in Japan. Lucas, you put it at B. Neil put it at B. Colin put it at B. We are actually we're pretty much in agreement with Mario Kart 64. It is like a right down the middle. It's just a decent Mario Kart game, but there are some things that are unlikable about it.
I would like to hear those.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a byproduct of being on the 64, really. One of the big things is the 64 joystick is awful.
Correct.
So it feels very bad to play.
That's also how I became very good at drifting in every subsequent Mario Kart game.
Until they removed it and
Yeah. That's how I got so good at drifting in, I guess, Double Dash specifically.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that right from the onset, the Star Cup in this game, I hated it. The first one, Wario's Coliseum, I think it was. That one just
Nope, Stadium.
Stadium, right?
Yeah, Coliseum's Double Dash.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wario Stadium, it's not that it's a bad track, it just feels like it's too big.
Just finish it
It's
in
a
8
really-
seconds.
It's a
Yeah,
really,
there's
really
speedrun
long
hacks in this
track.
one, right?
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
have
that
to-
track has some cool speedrun techs. You can complete a lap on like 8 seconds or so.
Nice. Yeah, that'd make it better if I didn't have to do like the full minute and a half, like 2-minute lap on that thing. It's a big track.
It is.
Yeah.
That's why
Honestly-
I usually jump over the wall right at the start.
Honestly, that's my main issue with this game is the tracks feel really big and there's not enough stuff going on inside them. And
I
the
would agree
things
with that.
the obstacles all just do the same thing, which is knock you up really high in the air and takes forever for you to get back on your feet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and when you fall off the track, which happened frequently on
Yes.
Royal Raceway, and I hated it, when you fall off the track and the little guy in the cloud comes and picks you up and he puts you back down, if you're just slightly holding the gas, you spin out.
Yes.
And
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
why? This is, as far as I know, this was the only game that did that, and it was just so dumb and frustrating.
Well, you see, in Royal Raceway, you're just not falling off the track correctly because there's a shortcut that you can take off of the big jump.
Of course
So-
there is.
So is all these shortcuts that you're saying a good thing or a bad thing? Because these sound like programming mistakes that or oversights at the very least.
Probably.
Another issue is this is probably also, I mean, this applies to Super Mario Kart also. The red shell is almost useless
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it does not track around obstacles. So if you're in it, if the person in front of you that it locks onto is somewhere off the screen and to the right, and you got a wall coming up on the right, it'll just crash straight into the wall, and just instead of following the track until it hits the person it locks onto. That was really annoying.
I know playing multiplayer with my family, because like this is our go-to Mario Kart game for family get-together multiplayer Mario Kart. There's a lot of issues with red shells on Rainbow Road because it's just a little bit too narrow, and as you shoot the shell and it veers off to the side before it starts tracking,
Yes.
Like, it just
Yeah.
veers out, hits the wall.
Yeah. There was a point where I had a circle of red shells around me and a red shell in my item slot, and all four of them hit the wall. Even though like I realized it with the first one, tried correcting it. Each time I tried correcting it, it still failed. It felt awful. Because four red shells in any other game is like amazing.
Yeah, that is like a god tier item box pickup.
Yeah.
I do really like that Mario Kart 64 introduced the item circling, because like having a shield of green shells or red
Yes.
shells is
Yep.
just fantastic.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one other thing that I just didn't really care for was drifting. And I didn't like the drift. To be clear, I didn't like drifting in Super Mario Kart either. I never used
Yes.
it because
Yeah,
it just
Super Mario
it wasn't
Kart,
good. It
it's
wasn't
not
good. But in 64,
Basically didn't exist.
in 64, I think when you go into a drift, it turns the camera slightly just too much inward that you can't see what's ahead of you
Yeah.
as well. And it got it
Yep.
was really, really difficult for me to get the hang of. That's the phrase I was looking for.
See, I'm locked onto the smoke trail so that I can maximize mini turbos throughout every turn.
Yeah.
This is why only until recently no one in my family could beat me at Mario Kart 64. I would frequently go 16-0. And then I taught my wife how to drift, and I've never won 16-0 since.
Yeah, she is insane, especially in the later Mario Karts.
Yeah.
I played as Toad in this game. I don't know if this is part of it. Is there weights in this game? There's
Yes.
no indication. Okay.
The weight classes are like light, medium, and heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your lightweight characters are Peach, Yoshi, and Toad. Middleweights are Mario and Luigi, and then heavies are Wario, DK, and Bowser.
Well, I don't know exactly why this was happening, which is part of why it was frustrating for me. But like, I would hit players as Toad, like knock into them, and I would just spin out. And it wasn't the coin reason that is why I don't like the Mode 7 games, because there's no coins. So I don't know what I was doing wrong or why it didn't always happen. But man, was it frustrating to just suddenly be knocked over and spinning out.
Yeah.
Might have been a weight thing.
I think it is, but
I
it
just-
seems like
I-
sometimes it wouldn't do that and sometimes it would. I don't know. Dodgy programming?
Huh.
I don't know.
It's an N64 game.
I
Yeah,
played as Luigi because Luigi's number one.
Yeah,
But
but
Toad is the best.
Toad is the best. He said so himself. And
But Luigi's number one.
yeah,
They are locked in the eternal struggle for being the top because you can't be better than number one, but you can't be better than the best either. So they're just like in this eternal struggle for power.
Suddenly your like pre-podcast stream of Double Dash with Toad and Luigi makes sense because like one's the
See?
best and the other is number one. So
Yep.
like
I knew what I was doing.
Oh.
That's the secret there.
I just found that like spinning out was a constant problem in this game and that it took a long time. Either
Yeah,
spinning out or
it
getting
was
knocked.
it was very frustrating in this one.
Pressing the B button on hitting a banana to avoid spinning out is a must. Pressing the B button to avoid
That's a
spinning out
thing?
into things is also a must.
Okay. Should have.
See,
into
I
that.
wondered if there was a way to prevent spinning out from like bananas and stuff because you don't spin immediately. You kind of
Yeah.
like wobble a little bit. So I was
Yeah.
wondering, but I wasn't quite sure. Huh.
Yep. Sometimes when you hit a banana, you will spin out immediately, but most of the time you'll like wobble, and that has like gives you a few frames to press the B button, hit the brakes, not spin out.
Okay, so a couple of things before we move on. I want to talk about fake item boxes in this game.
Oh, they are the worst, but also the best.
Yeah, they're the best in one way, the worst in another.
As long as you're not on the receiving end, they're really great. Also, the hitbox detection on the item boxes in themselves is not great.
No.
Yeah.
I think it's almost seemed like the fake boxes had a larger hitbox than the real ones.
I wouldn't.
Because, like, I would skirt by a fake box at the same distance as I would from a real box, and I would hit the fake box but miss the real one.
Yeah. Yeah. Fake item boxes, I don't know how I feel about it. In Double Dash, they're so obvious that they're real.
But these are literally the same item model with the question mark upside down.
Yeah, and they don't spin, I think, is the only other difference.
I never noticed that.
I might be wrong. I might be thinking of DS. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy too.
Point is, they look a little bit too close to the actual item boxes to where they are incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. And like I feel like that would make multiplayer a little bit more fun.
Oh yeah, it was a blast in battle mode where you could just like skirt one right over top of an actual item box, and then someone would drive into it, and you're the winner.
Right. Yeah. At the same time, when comms do that, feels real bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing is this game also has everything unlocked at the beginning.
Yeah.
So that wasn't just because I bought a used cartridge.
No.
Wait.
Nope.
No, you have to unlock extra mode.
Extra mode?
Oh, yeah, extra mode.
Yep. Extra is mirror mode.
Yeah, mirror mode.
Okay, you have to unlock mirror mode, but all the regular cups are unlocked.
Yep. Yeah. every track from the start, every like engine speed. Like,
and I don't know if I like that or not.
Yeah, I tried to do mirror mode yesterday just out of curiosity. I was like, no.
No, mirror mode in any of them is awful.
Yeah.
I've only really done it in Double Dash because I actually have a completed save file there.
Me too. That's a conversation for 2 games from now, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Indeed. Yeah, I kind of like it better when you have to unlock things because it gives you more reason to play.
Yeah.
And like with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, everything is unlocked, and it's just like, oh, I have access to all these races. It's not as bad here since there's less tracks.
Yeah.
But still, it's like I like Double Dash's and Wii's process of playing.
I don't mind playing to unlock stuff so long as you can do it at any difficulty you want to.
Yes.
Because in some of the earlier ones, you didn't unlock anything unless you were playing at 100cc or above.
Yeah.
As far as like unlocking additional cups and stuff, they were locked behind the 100cc or above. Not every game was like that, but some of them were, and that got frustrating in some places just because of how 100cc works in a lot of these.
Yeah.
In single player in particular.
What speeds did you play these at? Because I played 100cc for pretty much all of them except for Super Mario Kart.
I played 100cc for most of them, just assuming that the unlocks were going to be tied to that difficulty or higher. So
I tried a bit of everything.
Okay.
And then once I realized that everything was already unlocked on my N64 cartridge, I was just like, oh, well, I guess there's no reason to stress myself out over this, so I switched down to 50cc just to see all the tracks.
Yeah, I still played at 100cc, but I didn't go for gold. Like, I think every single cup I got silver in Mario Kart 64, which was nice because by that point it was like, I'm tired of Mario Kart, but...
Yeah. See, I believe for unlocks in 64, it's either completing all of the cups, 50, 100, and 150. Gold unlocks extra, which is 150 mirrored. And then...
that sounds awful.
Your spectacular prize for completing extra mode, all gold, is you get a different title screen.
Is that it?
That's it.
Wow.
Oh no.
What a great completion bonus.
Yep. Speaking from completion standpoint, it feels bad.
Yeah.
It is one of 2 Mario Kart games that I have played to 100% completion. The other being Double Dash, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. As good as Mario Kart 64 is, at the end of the day, Diddy Kong Racing is still better. It has a freaking elephant genie with a great accent. It's got airplanes. It's got all sorts of cool stuff. It's got an actual story mode that actually gives you a reason to play through all the tracks beyond just playing through all the tracks. And all the character models are actually 3D and not that weird, janky, like Donkey Kong Country style sprite thing.
Digitized. That's what that is called.
Pre-rendered.
Yeah, whatever that's called. Yeah, whatever it's called. Also, it's got Conker, and it's got Banjo. I think it was actually the first appearance of Conker and Banjo.
I think so. I don't know. I just never got quite as into Diddy Kong Racing as I did Mario Kart 64.
Same here.
Well, I think Mario Kart 64 was the one that you played with your family constantly, not Diddy Kong, so that's probably why.
I mean, we definitely tried, but that was also like the consensus of my whole family. So.
I feel like Mario Kart 64 is just like, if you want to play Mario Kart and just know what Mario Kart is at the purest form, you play this game.
Yep.
It's not necessarily bad, but it's definitely not the greatest. But it's still Mario Kart, like, really well done.
This is a good game to build your Mario Kart fundamentals on.
Yes.
Every
So I
skill you
don't
learn
know-
in Mario Kart 64 will carry forward.
Yep.
You want to know what's not a good Mario Kart game to build your foundation on? Our next Mario Kart game, Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance, which released in the year 2001.
Much like
yeah.
Super Mario Kart, it's a Mode 7 style racer.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Yep.
look nearly as good as Super Mario Kart does.
What? I don't understand. This game has 32-bit graphics. Looks a
Yep.
lot better.
No, it doesn't.
They actually use the same pre-rendered sprites that they
Yeah,
used in
that's.
Mario Kart
I
64.
think that is the issue I have with it visually. If they used like a graphical, like a sprite style, like they did in Super, it would, yeah, hands down, look a lot better. But I think
it's pretty impressive seeing Mario Kart 64 graphics on a Game Boy Advance. Considering how bad games like Doom and Duke 3D look on the Game Boy Advance, I think this does a pretty good job.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the pastel look. I got to this game and was like, oh, this is a Mario Kart that looks different than literally every other Mario Kart. This is something that's doing its own thing. And I think that's not really because they were like, hey, let's make a pastel colored Mario Kart just be different. It was more, we're playing on the Game Boy Advance and it doesn't have a backlight, so it's got to be bright.
Yep,
But
we got to use
appreciated
some
it.
pastel colors to make up for the lack of backlight.
God damn that base Game Boy Advance model.
yeah. But anyway, as far as our rankings go, Lucas had it at C, Neil had it at C, and I had it also at C. So we're pretty much in agreement as far as our ranking goes on this thing. It's not spectacular at all, but it's Mario Kart.
Yep. Had I more time to play through more of Super Circuit, you can unlock all of the tracks from Super Mario Kart by collecting at least 25 coins in each cup.
Yep.
So I think going back, it would have been kind of neat to do that and be able to A and B compare Super Mario Kart versus Super Circuit, because I put them both in C tier because I enjoyed playing them about as equally. Mm-hmm. But apparently Super Circuit has actual proper mini turbo drifting in it that I could manage.
Yeah. I have some of them unlocked on my copy because I played this game as a kid because all I had was Game Boy Advance. And yeah, I had some of them unlocked. They just look like nicer versions of Super Mario Kart, and that's about it. It's very clear by the track designs that they're not as good as the Super Circuit, and also the visual design. Not necessarily that Super Circuit is a better game. In my opinion, it is, but whatever. Just more like the graphical style is a downgrade, and the track design is more limited in this SNES because it's just the SNES tracks and there's not as many shortcuts and stuff.
Okay. So I'm not missing much then.
You're not missing too much. If you've played Super Mario Kart, you've played Super Circuit. Super Mario Kart.
Okay.
There's lots of supers in these discussions.
Yep.
It's a very super series. This is also a game with bad drifting.
Incredibly bad.
It's so bad. I don't even know if you can, honestly. I'm literally playing it right now. I picked up my 3DS and booted it up just to see if there was anything else I wanted to say about it. And I don't even know if you can drift in this game. You just kind of hop and turn very, very sharply.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
really, really bad drifting.
It's pretty bad.
I was moving all over the place. I had a hard time driving on this one.
Yeah, it feels really floaty almost.
Yeah, it's not great.
I was wondering, of course I picked a freaking ice track to play, so I wasn't sure if it was the ice track or not. But yeah, it was really, really floaty. Your cart's really wobbly back and forth. It's hard to make really subtle movements, which is something admittedly in Mario Kart I'm already bad at as it is.
Yeah.
It's the little subtle nudges to the left or right. But like in this, it's like basically impossible because your cart just like swings back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a problem inherent to the Mode 7 style Mario Kart games, because like precise movement in Super Mario Kart isn't great either.
Yeah. It felt a little bit tighter than Super Circuit.
Yes.
But yeah, it's definitely not like the level of tightness that you get out of the later entries in the series.
I think Super Circuit's floatiness is probably, again, attributed to the Game Boy Advance's screen, because it's that much smaller of a screen, so like they gotta make things that much more obvious that you're doing them.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like if they had better hardware to make a Mode 7 game, they could probably make a good Mode 7 Mario Kart. But at that point, why not just make a 3D Mario Kart?
Yeah.
So that never really happened.
Yeah. I will say about the track designs in Super Circuit, though, is that they are very good.
Yes, I agree.
It's a bit like
pretty good tracks.
It's a bit like the Doom fan modding community, where like take Super Mario Kart, like that's your Doom 1 game engine, and then down the road, years later, now that everyone has gotten on the Doom modding bandwagon, like Super Circuit is like the sort of high quality fan made sort of tracks that people have made on the Super Mario Kart engine.
Yeah, I agree. Also, there's a lot more. I was able to find a lot more tracks where you could just skip things with a mushroom.
That's always fun.
Yeah, especially in the earlier cups, I was going all over the place.
I always forget to save my mushrooms for shortcuts like that, and I drive by them, and I'm like, oh, if I had a mushroom right now.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about like ones that are specifically shortcuts. I'm more just talking about like just cutting corners with a mushroom.
Yep. Oh, I got you. I know what you mean. Just kind of cutting things sharper than usual.
Instead of taking...
Not really worrying about if you're driving through the grass and around the corner or something like that, just using the mushroom to compensate.
Yeah, why take your racing line to the edge of the track when you could take it to the edge of the wall?
I was also noticing in this game, like item balancing seems weird.
Yes.
Like, I got stars in second. I saw Luigi getting stars in second, specifically Luigi for some reason, but...
A Luigi?
Yeah, Luigi just had a habit of getting stars in like second and third place. And then I got stars a couple times in second, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it, but geez.
I guess one nice thing about Super Circuit, I will say, is it gave us Cheeseland, which unfortunately looks awful in Super Circuit, but the remastered versions of Cheeseland are great because it's Cheeseland.
Oh
yeah, that's such a clever track theme.
It's just honestly a lot of the Super Circuit tracks are some of my favorite remake tracks in the subsequent.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm looking
Shy Guy Beach.
Shy Guy Beach with the crabs.
Yeah. And the exploding cannonballs.
Yeah. That's how cannonballs work.
Yeah. It actually kind of is, depending on the cannonball.
Fair enough.
Yeah, weirdly, was it Bowser's Castle 2, I think, in Mario Kart Wii? It was a lot of fun.
Is that the blue one? If it's not the blue one, then it might be 2.
Yeah.
Blue one is 3.
It's the gray one. Yeah, it might be 1 or 2. I forget.
Yeah, every cup, or at least most of the cups in Super Circuit ends with a Bowser's castle level. So there's like 4 Bowser's castles.
Yeah, Mushroom, Flower, and Star end in a Bowser's Castle, and then the special cup, track 3 is Bowser Castle 4.
Yeah. This also has Rainbow 5 Road. Cups.
And the only reason it doesn't end after the only reason it doesn't end the special cup is because the special cup has Rainbow Road. Otherwise, Bowser Castle 4 would probably be there.
No, there's 5 cups in this game. There's a lightning cup in the middle. So
yes, there are 5 cups.
There are four Bowser's
no,
Castle.
but what I'm saying is like the only reason that like Special Cup isn't ended by Bowser Castle like the other ones that are ended by Bowser Castle is because Special Cup has Rainbow Road.
Right. Yes. Yep. But the other
Which
four
makes
cups
it a
are
little bit
Bowser's
weird.
Castle.
It's like, why didn't they just do the first 3 cups or the first 4 cups end with Bowser Castle and then have something else in Special Cup before Rainbow Road?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Now, while we're on the subject of repeating tracks, that is also something that I forgot to mention during Super Mario Kart, is that, like...
Donut planes.
Yeah.
Multiple donut planes, multiple ghost tracks.
Yeah.
And
I hated the ghost tracks in both of these.
Yeah, because the walls fall off.
And just the hitboxes in both of them for falling off the edge, it feels too close. Like, I swear I'm still on the track. Nope,
Yeah.
dropped into an abyss and slowly have to wait. I feel like the Super Circuit is like the slowest wait for the Lakitu to bring you back on track, too.
Yeah. And there's some pretty bad ones in Mario Kart 64. Like, if you fall off the ledge and don't hit anything till you get to the bottom of the canyon, it's Yoshi's Valley.
Ooh, that's brutal.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so 64 has the slowest.
Yeah.
But I feel like Super Circuit is right after it.
Or, like, if you miss the slope jump at the beginning of Rainbow Road, and you're just, like, falling for half a minute.
Yeah. I had a problem on Choco Mountain in 64. Kept falling off the edge there on the second and third laps and slowly go tumbling down the edge and then land at the bottom. And then Lakitu finally brings you up. Of course, he brings you way far back from where you were.
Let's move on to our next Mario Kart, shall we?
Did we rank this one?
Yes. This one is a C.
Yep.
We all gave it a C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Another unanimous C.
Yep. This one isn't going to be unanimous, though.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Because now, if you have been listening to this podcast for quite some time, you might know I have some opinions regarding our next topic. It's Mario Kart Double Dash, released in the year 2003 for the Nintendo GameCube. Many people regard this as the best Mario Kart game.
It is.
It's not.
I disagree.
It's not the best Mario Kart game.
But let's get into our rankings, shall we? Because this is where things get spicy. Lucas gave it S.
Yep.
Neil gave it S. I invented a tier called F specifically for Mario Kart Double Dash, and that's where it's at.
Okay.
You are very incredibly wrong there. Mario Kart Tour exists.
Am I, though? Do you think this is really off character for me?
Off character, no.
No, actually, I give it an A. In reality,
Okay.
I wanted to maintain it, the guys, as long as I could. Where now I could finally, after giving it an honest shake, finally after all these years, it's not as bad as I previously believed it to be. So the story behind my hatred for Mario Kart Double Dash, I bought this, I think it was summer of 2005 or 6, something like that. Back in the brief moment in time I had a GameCube back in high school, I picked up Mario Kart Double Dash because I loved Super Mario Kart, and I never got a chance to play any of the ones between. So I picked up Double Dash because I heard it was really good, and I don't remember what it was about it. Something about this game frustrated me so much that I brought it back to GameStop, asked for a refund, got the refund, and I bought Dragon Quest VIII with the demo for Final Fantasy XII instead because I was so fed up with this game. I don't even remember why I hated it anymore. I just remember that extreme feeling. One of the only times I can think of in my life where I've hated the game so much that I brought it back for a refund and bought something entirely different in its place.
Wow.
Jeez.
So that is the story of me and Double Dash. But no, like playing it for this episode, it's a good game. It's not the best Mario Kart, but it is up there. I will give you guys the S on this game. It is definitely up there. It is not my favorite Mario Kart.
It's not my favorite Mario Kart either.
But it is definitely, it does enough unique to itself in the franchise that is worthy of putting it up higher in our ranking, as much as Teenage Colin would very much disagree.
This one does a lot of unique stuff, and it's very cool.
Yes.
I think if I had a chance to, back in the day, if I had a chance to play this with somebody, my enjoyment of this game would have been drastically different, because then the co-op between the two characters on the cart would have come into play, and it would have, whatever frustrated me about it probably wouldn't have frustrated me as much, because I would have had someone there to help me out. I don't know.
I honestly prefer 2-player Grand Prix, where you're separate racers, so you're 4 racers, but 2 different carts, because you can still work together, but you can also use the switching characters a lot better than when you co-op on the same card.
Yeah.
Because surprisingly, even though that's the main gimmick, it's better when it's just one player controlling both characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I have played it on LAN mode once, or not even LAN. If you play it with 4 people, you can have a 2-player split screen, and 2 people can be on one cart and 2 people can be on the other cart. So you have 4 people, and you can actually play Grand Prix mode with other computer racers. It's actually really good.
Yeah, didn't Double Dash have like some ridiculous like LAN connectivity feature?
It did.
It does. Yeah.
It's like up to 6. Wasn't it like 16 players?
Or
was that...
No, I think it's 8. Because 8 is the amount of players you can have.
Yeah, it's up to 8 players with 16 racers on their own carts.
Yeah.
Which is basically, I think, the full character roster.
Yeah.
The full starting character roster, I think.
Yeah. Because you get to unlock Toad and Toadette, and then, was it King Boo and PD Piranha?
Yup.
Yeah.
King Boo!
King Boo and PD Piranha have no special item of their own, and it's not great.
Yep,
that's unfortunate.
Yep, their special item is randomly everyone else's.
And why it wasn't the ghost item, I don't know, because that would have been like having everybody else's power up too. So
yeah,
could have done like a supercharged ghost item too.
Yeah,
it
would have been cool, but they did not do that.
Yep. So yeah, if you want to play like max players LAN mode, you're probably going to like get into a fist fight before you get into the race, because everyone will be arguing over characters.
Yeah, that is one problem with this game's like unique mechanics or unique items is everybody wants Toad and Koopas.
Yeah. Because Koopa Troopa and Paratroopa are the only ones that get the triple shells, and then Toad and Toadette are the only ones that get golden mushrooms.
Yeah. Fortunately for me, I played this game with my dad, and he always picked Mario and Luigi, or maybe Luigi and Waluigi.
Luigi's number 1!
Yeah.
No, as we discussed earlier, clearly the best hack is to do Luigi and Toad.
Because they're both the best.
True. They are. They are number 1 and the best.
I usually go double Koopas until I unlock Toad and Toadette, and then I'm that horrible person that does double Toads.
Oh, that's actually how I rolled with it when I was playing it initially. I was doing Koopa and Paratroopa doubled up until I unlocked Toad and Toadette.
Triple shells is just too good.
It's really good.
I always prefer Baby Mario and Baby Luigi if I don't have Toad and Toadette, just because that's still a form of a catch-up item, and I feel like it's actually pretty good to chain chomp.
Yeah. It's almost like it was like the prototype of the bullet bill.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
I think it has more character than the Bullet Bill, if you ask me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah,
because it
farts.
can break loose and
Yeah,
go rampaging off without you.
it's great. I love it. I also like Bowser and Bowser Jr., but since I'm a lightweight character, I always go with just Bowser Jr. and some other lightweight character.
Yeah.
Because with this dual cart thing, you end up having large carts, medium carts, and heavy carts that you can potentially have a lightweight or a medium in a heavy cart or a lightweight in a medium, but not vice versa.
Yep.
They have to fit in the cart. It's physics in Mario Kart.
Yep.
Another thing I kind of really like is after you get hit with something, sometimes the person on the back of the cart will like be dragging behind.
Yes.
And when Toad is dragging behind, it's the funniest freaking thing. He's like, "Ah!" He's like screaming and wailing back there and just kicking his feet. It's so funny.
It's so good.
Oh my god.
And if
so
you're
funny.
like me and you're like fixed in first place in that game, then like getting hit by a leader shell and just seeing that.
Yeah. Also, I know we're not really talking too much about the battle modes in these today, but like the fact that one of the battle mode stages was just on top of a Nintendo GameCube
That was cool.
is just so good.
Yeah. Didn't play a ton of battle mode for Double Dash, but like it did have some cool battle tracks.
Yeah.
Mario Kart Double Dash is the one as compared to the other games I own. I really did like Bomb Blast in that one.
Yeah.
Just nothing but bombs and just being able to get a ridiculous pile of bombs in both players' cans.
Yeah. Shine Chaser exists.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like they nailed battle mode in any other game since, at least not on the console.
Yeah.
I always just really enjoyed the traditional balloon battle.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter
balloon
what
battle
the game
definitely
was.
good.
Balloon battle was just always so much fun.
It's a classic.
I don't know. I like more explosions in my mini games.
Yeah.
Explosions.
Also, please don't drive 10 bombs in your hands while you're racing in a kart racer.
Seems like a bad idea.
Double Dash also has a whole bunch of really good tracks.
Yes.
DK Jungle or DK Mountain? DK
Yeah.
Mountain is one of my favorites.
Yep.
Yep.
I always really liked Mushroom Bridge.
Yes, Mushroom Bridge is great.
Just the traffic thing was really neat.
Yeah,
Mushroom City, same thing with Mushroom City.
Yes.
Yeah. I always loved bumping into the weird mushroom tricycle cars and getting free mushrooms out of it.
Yeah.
Daisy
also, the
Cruiser
Wiggler train. Yes, Daisy Cruiser is great.
on a boat.
On a boat.
And the best. This is like one of my like top 5 all-time Mario Kart tracks. Baby Park. I love it.
Baby Park is hilarious.
I love everything about Baby Park. It's so good. It's this tiny little track with items flying everywhere. It's like the entire thing. It's like you're racing against shells just as much as you're racing against the other carts.
It's so much fun.
It's just absolute pandemonium, and I love it.
Yeah,
I really like
looking at the basic layout of it. It's like, oh, this is just an oval track, and that's your first mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a demolition derby.
Yep.
Yep.
It's absolute madness.
Yeah. It's very fun to mess around with the number of laps with Baby Park, because I think you can go up to like 9 or 10 in the settings, and then it just gets crazy long. Or you can go crazy and do it 1 lap, because why not?
Yeah.
Single lap baby park.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to who can get the most mini turbos out of their drift.
Yeah, exactly. I also like Peach Beach a lot.
Yeah.
I like the ducks. The ducks are great.
Yep. The
Um,
Cadillacs.
yes, cataquacks. I know. I just call them ducks.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they are ducks.
yeah.
Double Dash has a pretty good Rainbow Road too.
Double Dash's Rainbow Road is great. I think this is where Bowser's Castle just started becoming, oh, this is one of the best courses in every Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys ever jump over the gap there instead of going around the turn at the fireball launcher?
Yes. Yep. That takes some practice to get used to, but
Yeah.
I was doing it consistently when I was playing this game back in the day.
Yeah.
It's a ton of fun. I mean, so many of these are good. Wario Coliseum I really like. I'm glad they set it to 2 laps.
Mhm.
I think that was really smart.
Yep.
Dino Jungle is really good.
I hate that track.
I love it. At first I did hate it because like that bridge section is really hard.
The bridge sucks.
The bridge section is why I dislike that track.
Yeah. Yeah, the bridge sucks.
I still like it. I've gotten past the bridge section.
The amount of times I have been knocked off by the dinosaur at the second bridge and ended up having to restart like a halfway completed all-star or all-cup.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, because the all cup is randomized. They need to bring back all cup. I don't care.
Yeah,
They do. Even if it's just like pick 4 Grand Prix and that's your all cup. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be more tolerable than however many tracks it would be nowadays.
It's only 96. It's not that bad.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
It's not even triple digits yet. All Cup Grand Prix is very entertaining.
Yes.
Even if it's also very infuriating because lots of things can go wrong because the tracks are all randomized until Rainbow.
You always start on Luigi's Circuit and you always end on Rainbow Road.
Yep.
And I would be like, all right, Rainbow Road is at the end. By the time we get to like track 11 or 12, we got to start thinking about having a point lead so that we can make room for Rainbow Road fails.
Yeah. Because I don't actually know all of the Rainbow Roads too well off the top of my head, but I feel like Double Dash Rainbow Road probably has the least amount of guardrail.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Super's Rainbow Road is just no guardrail.
oh, well.
Yeah. And I think same with the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
I didn't play that one.
I have fallen off that track so many times.
Yep.
Yoshi's Circuit has a really cool shortcut that doesn't actually save you that much time.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah.
It feels great
It's
to
just
pull
there
off.
to be cool.
Yep. Yeah, the little mushroom jump there.
Yeah.
Not quite as cool as past mushroom jumps, like at forget the name of the beach track in 64, but there's that one ramp that goes into the cave that shaves off like 15 seconds on a lap.
Koopa Troopa something or other.
Okay. Yeah, it was Koopa Troopa Beach.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're very, very precise with your jump timing on 150cc, you can make that jump without a mushroom. Very hard, though.
Oh, jeez. You know, we've talked about a ton of the tracks in Mario Kart Double Dash because so many of them are just so good.
Yeah.
One quick note, Peach Beach, if you drive around on the beach and position your car just right, you can actually see Daisy Cruiser off in the distance.
Nice.
It's great. Just a little bit of world building there.
If I remember correctly, this is also one of the like 1 or 2 other tracks on Double Dash that have like a pipe shortcut.
Yes. Yeah. Mushroom Bridge and
Yep.
Peach Beach.
Yeah, on Peach Beach, if you hang a left at the first right turn, you go into a pipe and it spits you out by the loading dock.
Yeah.
I forget
Much-
where the Mushroom Bridge pipe is, but
It's
there.
like a sharp right turn right after you start the track.
Okay.
And you just get shot out pointing on the road that goes into the tunnel.
Yeah.
It doesn't save you a ton of time there. Neither of them save you a ton of time, but you do get a double item box right off the bat.
Yeah. That's
And-
probably the more useful thing of them.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you do that, you can easily be in 8th, and you'll get the 8th item box instead of like where you'll end up being in like 1st or 2nd. So
Yeah.
it's a great way to get a really good item, even though you're ahead.
Yep. You know what first place needs? A golden mushroom.
Exactly.
Yeah!
So where are we ranking this? S, of course.
Yes. Yes, it got an S. I conceded to you guys.
Your most hated
Well-
Mario Kart.
My most hated Mario Kart gets an S. But anyway, that's gonna do it for Double Dash, I think. I think we had a pretty good discussion on that.
Yeah.
Next up is Mario Kart DS, which is
The first good handheld Mario Kart game.
There we go. The first good handheld Mario Kart game released in the year 2005 on the Nintendo DS. So, Lucas, you gave Mario Kart DS a B, Neil gave it a C, and I gave it a B. So, we're a little bit conflicted on this one, but it's not one where we're all lined up on.
Yeah.
I think notably right off the bat, the thing that frustrated me the most with this game was the drifting being bad.
Yes, the drifting is
Mario
bad.
Kart games kind of live and die by their drifting in a lot of ways, it seems.
Yeah.
I learned
drifting.
I learned drifting off of Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart DS has pretty good drifting.
Yeah.
Better than 64, good, no.
So, I hated it for a while, but I was emulating this with a PS4 controller, and hang on, I can just remap this to my stick.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it wasn't nearly as bad.
That is the consensus I have read online, is that Mario Kart DS is better with like a circle pad on a 3DS, or like if you emulate it and can use an analog stick of some sort.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot better doing it that way.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about this game though, I played this like way back when it first came out, when the DS was still pretty fresh, because this is like one of the earliest DS games, I think.
Yep.
But what was really cool about this game was it utilized the DS download play, so you could do a full multiplayer game with just one copy of the game, and that was really neat about the DS. And one thing that was really fun about this game in particular, like you can get a full 4-player battle mode going off of just a single cartridge.
Yeah, that was something that made... Or did Super Circuit have...
Super Circuit did have up to 4-player multiplayer with the Game Boy Advance link.
Mm-hmm. Did you need every game, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
This is the first time you could play it with just a group of friends and one copy of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes this a lot better.
Yep.
Plus, it's in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
3D DS.
Granted, your friends playing on download play are all stuck with Shy Guy as their character, but there's worse characters you could be.
Yeah. But one really neat thing about DS in particular is it introduced the Retro Grand Prix. This was the first time like Retro Grand Prix was a thing, and you didn't just kind of unlock slightly remastered tracks later on.
Yep.
And they did some pretty cool old tracks. Like they had Mushroom Bridge from Double Dash. Baby Park was in there.
Yeah.
Had a couple of
Yeah.
the Super Nintendo tracks that had Chocolate Island 2 and Mario Circuit 1 and Donut Plains 1 and Koopa Beach 2. Oh, I see. Okay, so the way they did it, there were 4 retro Grand Prix, and
Right.
each of them have one track each from Super Nintendo 64, Super Circuit, and Double Dash.
Yeah. For most of these games, I tried to play all the cups, and I got to Banana Cup here, which is the second remake cup, and it was just like, I'm done. The remake tracks in this game are not great. Um, like the GameCube ones are pretty good, and the N64 ones are okay, but the SNES and the Game Boy are just very, very basic ports. Like it looks a little better. Some of the graphics are updated, but they don't do anything special, and they don't put a ton of effort into it.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
Still just the same plain old flat track from.
yeah. Admittedly, they still do that in a lot of the other games, but
Yeah.
like you can tell the remake tracks in this game were very tacked on.
Yeah. This is the one of the ones where I started to be like, I'm just going to play the tracks that are unique to the game for the sake of what we're doing here. Because once you start mixing in all of the remastered tracks and stuff, it just gets really, really convoluted. It's like, this track's better on this version. Well, I mean, yeah, the Mario Kart 8 version of a track is probably going to be better than the original version of it. That's not really what we're looking at here.
N64 Rainbow Road's a downgrade.
False. No, it's false.
What? Yeah, I would say that N64 on DS is a downgrade. And sorry, N64 DS, Moo Farm was fine.
Yeah,
they're about the same. But N64 Frappe Snowland, where I stopped, that one I did not like.
Frappe Snowland was just bad in the original too.
Yeah,
so
but it was worse here.
Yeah.
The only upside to this version is the snowmen don't make you bounce up super high like they do in Super Mario 64.
Yeah,
that was really annoying.
The way the AI works in DS doesn't work as well as the way the AI worked in 64. Like the AI is way more unforgiving in Frappe Snowland on the DS.
Yeah.
So that was super frustrating, and part of why I stopped. And also I was disappointed that Baby Park only had 5 laps.
That's not enough laps.
That is not enough laps for Baby Park.
Exactly. But yeah, I wasn't going to replay this to unlock the Leaf Cup.
Yeah.
This game could have used the retry feature that the Mode 7s had.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Where do we want to plop that? It's not the best Mario Kart, but it's not really. I don't want to say it's bad either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found with this game that like the gameplay is iffy, but the track design, at least for the regular tracks, is actually really top notch. Like every single time they remake one of these DS tracks, anywhere else, doesn't matter which console, it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the DS tracks are some of my favorite remake tracks in subsequent games. So
yeah,
that checks out.
Since we had 2 B's and a C, I'm gonna drop it down at B.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I was actually kind of debating whether I wanted it at B or C, and I went with C just because I didn't want to put it with Nintendo 64 because I felt 64 was better.
That's why we put it in B, but below 64.
That works.
Yeah, we solved it. We did it. All right, next up, we got Mario Kart Wii that released in 2008 for the Nintendo Wii.
I have a fun story about this one.
Ooh. Well, let's get to our rankings first here. Lucas, you ranked it at A. Neil ranked it at A, and I also gave it an A. I actually did a little bit of bouncing around with this one that I'll get into later, but we're all pretty much in agreement. This is an A.
Yeah.
So
Do lots of bouncing around in this game, from what I've found.
Yeah.
I really, really like the track designs in this game.
Yes.
Like, right off the bat, like a big highlight for me, I think, is Coconut Mall.
Coconut Mall is pretty good.
I love it. And then you get to the parking lot, and there's the Miis, and they're trying to park, but they're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I will say though, one thing that I don't like about this game is all the Miis.
Yeah. It is
Especially
funny.
since they're just the faces on like a cylindrical body. It's not
Yeah.
even like a full body Mii. It's just they're very, very unsettling looking.
Yeah.
I do like it specifically in Coconut Mall just because, you can accidentally crash into Obama driving a car. The novelty of that is pretty good.
Reenact Josh hitting Oprah from Drake and Josh. Like, oh my god, I hit Oprah. Yeah, I really like Coconut Mall, even if it has somewhat of a meme status.
Yes.
It's mostly the track music, I think.
Yeah, the music is kind of grating for sure. But I do like the up escalators changing direction. That's a neat idea for a racetrack.
Yep.
And yeah, a lot of these are really good.
DK Summit.
Moo Meadows, DK Summit, yep.
DK Summit is so good.
Such a good follow-up to DK
Yes.
Mountain from Double Dash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just the way you do the half pipes and
Yes.
stuff, especially on bikes.
Yeah.
The bikes themselves suck, but they're really fun on the half pipes.
Yeah, the half pipe.
I'm a bike main in this game, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
I could not get the feel for the bikes, and I tried because, like in a lot of the games, especially a lot of the previous titles, like a lot of the unlocks were locked behind 100cc or higher. So going into this one, I just assumed that was kind of the case. And what I didn't like about this game initially was that 50cc is karts only, 100cc is bikes only. And if you want to have a choice between the two, you have to go all the way up to 150cc. So I was like, well, I'm not doing 150 because I'm not that good. So I just went to 100 with the bikes and hated it. So initially I had this game rated like really low actually. And then just this morning I was like, you know what, I'm just going to boot it up and run around it in 50cc and see what happens. And sure enough, things started unlocking and I was like, oh, well. Yeah. That changes things because now I can enjoy this game.
So
Grumble Volcano is still very rough though.
Yeah.
I love that because I've jammed with it for time trials. This is the one.
Grumble Volcano.
I got really good times on Grumble Volcano. Me and my dad would race each other time trials when we were both there or when one of us was there and one of us wasn't. And we both got that map perfected.
Yeah.
And
it's not a bad map. It's just
not.
It's fun, and I really appreciate how it changes throughout each lap too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like each lap feels unique in some way.
Yes. It's great.
Yeah, I love tracks that do that.
Yeah.
Even like all the way as far back as like Super Mario Kart. Like in like the Bowser's Castle levels, the first lap never like the little what do you call them? God, I'm a terrible Mario fan. I can't even remember what these things are called. The things that kind of drop down onto the ground with the big faces on them. The womps. Yeah. Yeah, like the first time through, like your first lap, they're just kind of hanging out up there. And then each successive lap, they start smashing down and stuff. Like even stuff like that I've always really liked about these games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the track list. This has some great tracks. Toad's Factory is really cool. Wario's Gold Mine.
Yeah.
Maple Treeway.
Yeah.
Cape.
Yeah.
It's got
Moonview
a great Bowser's
Highway.
Castle.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Moonview Highway.
yeah. The tracks in Mario Kart Wii are just wins all around. They're all really, really good.
Yeah.
Dry Dry Ruins is actually a good desert level.
Yeah.
That sand mechanic, that's another thing like Grumble Volcano.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and Rainbow Road is just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You re-enter Earth's atmosphere if you fall off.
Yeah.
It's
And the
pretty
cart
wild.
literally starts burning up, which is kind of gruesome, but
Right.
fortunately
Yeah.
Lakitu can breathe in space.
Yep.
Oh.
That is a pretty nice touch, though. Yeah, this is also a first Mario Kart game to support multiple different control schemes.
Yes, because GameCube
Yeah.
and the Wiimote.
Yep. Yeah. Like, you get your choice of, like, Wii Remote tilt controls, Wii Remote nunchuck, classic controller, and GameCube.
Yep. How'd you all play this one?
My preferred controller setup for Mario Kart Wii is Wii Remote and nunchuck.
Okay.
I like being able to tilt the Wii Remote up to do wheelies on the bike.
Gotcha.
GameCube controller is not great in this game.
I like it.
Yeah,
That's how I play it.
I mean, it's fairly standard, really. There's extra things that you get from the motion control in this game just because it's a Wii game that I can see it being the less fun way if you have the option with the Wiimote and nunchuck.
Yeah. Part of it for me is I have GameCube controllers and I only have one Wiimote.
That's fair.
And yeah, the control scheme is different than Double Dash's GameCube controls.
Yeah.
But that's more a mechanical issue difference between the two games because you wouldn't be able to drag items with an X or Y button just the way that your fingers wouldn't be able to do that while also controlling the A button and the B button.
Yeah.
So they had to switch it to the L trigger, which is how every other game is, so I don't know.
It's really weird. I just never could get comfortable with the GameCube controller in Mario Kart Wii.
Did you ever try the steering wheel?
I am horrible with the steering wheel.
I probably would be too.
Here's the thing, though, is that in Mario...
I just Googled it. You perform a trick by pressing up on the D-pad in GameCube mode.
Oh yeah, that's why it sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty suboptimal.
I got really good at it still, though.
That's fair. So, I'm absolutely terrible with the Wii wheel controls in Mario Kart Wii. My wife Becca and her sister Allison are amazing with the Wii wheel.
Really?
Huh. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's just because it was the first control scheme that they played a Mario Kart game with or something. I don't know.
Huh.
They're all the way over at Becca's mom's house, so I can't really just get up and ask her right now if she played Mario Kart before Mario Kart Wii, because I actually gifted them a copy back when we were still dating, just out of high school, because of my fun story about Mario Kart Wii.
Oh no!
So the end of the school year, 2011, my senior year of high school, went to the senior getaway that they had, which was interesting. Basically they brought us to some kind of sports facility or gym facility. They had a pool there that we could swim in if we brought swimsuit. It was inflatable bounce house type stuff there. Games. They had a hypnotist and magician type guy that did a performance. They also had door prizes. And you know what my door prize was?
Oh, is this where you got the extra Wii?
This is where I got the Mario Kart Wii
Pack-in?
bundle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Mario Kart Wii pack-in bundle and
Okay.
second Wii remote included with it. It was
Right.
my hot pink Wii remote that I use as my default Wii remote to this day because I love it.
All right.
Nice. Yeah.
I had a very small circle of friends in high school. I wasn't expecting this, but somehow everyone that came to the senior getaway that I bumped into that had heard that I had won this Mario Kart Wii bundle was like, oh, of course he would get that. It's like, that is the most Lucas door prize, and I'm just like, how did everyone know that? Am I really that known as the diehard Nintendo guy?
Apparently.
Yeah, how I first played this game, my cousin, just out of the blue, he was like high school, I don't know, maybe more middle school age. He went to Myers in Michigan and just bought a Wii and Mario Kart pack-in bundle and just took it home. And the next time I was over there, I was like, whoa, this is something I do. And so that's how I played Mario Kart Wii. But they played with the wheel for a while, and then they switched to something else. I don't know if they kept playing with the Wii wheel. I don't actually remember. But I know we definitely played more of Double Dash once I got a copy of it, and they ended up having a GameCube as well for some reason. I think they just got given a GameCube, even though really you don't need a GameCube once you have a Wii.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the Wii is better for playing certain GameCube games.
Yeah.
There is a caveat to that.
There is a caveat.
If you got one of the later production model Wiis, they did not have the GameCube controller ports anymore.
Right, okay. Not the caveat I was thinking of. Caveat to the Wii not being as good is the GameCube has the Game Boy Player adapter. The Wii does
There is also that.
Yep. That being said, that I have a fun story related to that too. There was one time I tried playing Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventure, which has a multiplayer in it, but it's the bad sort of multiplayer where every player needs to have a GBA with a GBA link cable.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I had a TV with 2 inputs, and I had a Wii and a GameCube.
Uh-huh.
So, I used my GameCube as the Game Boy for playing Link to the Past, or not Link to the Past, Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventure on my Wii using my GameCube as a controller.
Wow.
It was horrible. I don't recommend it. But at the same time, it was hilarious.
That is entirely something I can see you doing too.
It would be better if my TV had picture-in-picture for the 2 inputs, but it didn't. Because, being able to picture-in-picture swap and have the GBA screen pop up on screen instead shrink down the overworld. But
yeah,
I did that once.
I've seen Let's Players do a 4-player of that game where they hook 4 GameCubes to another GameCube and have the Game Boy players on the 4 and the GameCube having 4 Swords Adventure, and they record all the screens. Which sounds like hell.
That sounds like so much fun, but yeah, it does sound like hell.
But it's just wires.
It's just the sort of hell that I would die to participate in.
Yeah. let's move on to our next game. We're getting pretty close to the end of our list here, so let's keep on trucking. Next up is Mario Kart
Wait.
7 released.
Did
What?
we rank it? What did we rank it?
I think.
Yeah, we
weren't
ranked
we
it.
like?
We ranked it. We were all unanimous on A.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Neil, pay attention.
I've started doing it so that I can find it easier in the audio.
Anyway,
Purposes.
Neil, pay attention. I'm the one who didn't realize that we were doing this until 4 days ago.
right.
My thumb hurts so much from playing so much Mario Kart.
My carpal tunnel is flaring up from all of this, in addition to playing through Bayonetta this weekend.
Oh my gosh, we're so old.
I know, it's awful. Oh my god. Anyway, next up is Mario Kart 7, released for the Nintendo 7. Released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2011. So, getting onward to the ranking here. Lucas has it at A. Neil has it at A. Colin, that's me. I have it at A.
Hey,
Hey, Neil.
Ranking.
Hey, Neil.
Yeah.
It gets an A.
Okay.
All right. This one, despite having the opportunity to get it on several occasions, I never actually really played this one until this episode, really.
Same
Yeah,
here.
this is one
I
I
didn't-
kind of skipped over. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have.
I mean, they literally
3DS.
went to they literally packaged it with the 2DS XL when that came out. It's like came it pre-installed on the system.
Huh.
But I didn't
And
buy a
you never
2DS
played
XL
it?
back then. No.
Oh.
Yeah. Part of why I also really didn't play Mario Kart DS until we were doing this episode is just like I don't play a ton of the handheld consoles.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that Nintendo was like, what if we made our main home console also the handheld console? So now I have an excuse to buy games for my handheld.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's kind of the same way for me too. It's like basically outside of Pokemon, I really didn't do much handheld gaming when I was younger at all.
Yeah, that's why the GameCube Game Boy Player was such a
Right.
big deal for me. Is like now I can play my Game Boy Advance games on a TV screen, so like I can play them at home and on the go.
See, I'm the complete
See,
opposite. All
Nintendo
I
has
had
been
was-
working toward the Nintendo Switch all along. It just took them
Yeah.
this long to get there.
Seems like it.
For me, growing up, all I had was a Game Boy Advance. So, like, I didn't have a console until high school. So, kind of inverse here. I mostly played handheld stuff and mobile games.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
Ew.
mobile games later on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is a couple exceptions. I played Metroid Fusion on anything,
True.
and I use the Game Boy Player's unique feature of plugging a Game Boy Advance into your GameCube with the Game Boy Link cable to play with the Game Boy as your controller to play it.
Yeah.
So, like,
Better D-pad.
much better D-pad. Especially for a Metroid game. Like, you
Sure.
can't be doing wall jumps with that analog stick. Holy...
No.
Yeah.
But no, like Mario Kart 7 is just super solid all the way around though. Like every single
Yes.
track's a banger. And it was the first to finally introduce like new traversal mechanics into the
Mhm.
series. So you got the glider and the propeller, which allowed you to kind of glide through the air and go underwater and do underwater things.
Yep.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool mix up to the formula. Finally,
Yeah, honestly-
a much needed mix up.
It's not really that much like gameplay difference. Like driving underwater is just the same as
Yeah,
driving on
driving
land.
underwater. Yeah, driving underwater. It's like, I feel like the propeller was just there to give them like a reason for it to make sense for you to drive underwater, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
but like it opens up so many track line opportunities like that they couldn't do previously because you couldn't go underwater.
Yeah, like the Easter egg of being able to drive in the pool on Daisy Cruiser.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, honestly, this one is just so solid. This is the first one I played when we started doing this, and I was able to get a handle on the handling. It's a weird way to say that. I was able to get a handle on the handling, really just like the game feel just felt right. It was like, okay, this is just Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And like I was immediately using green shells to snipe people, and it just feels like a really good, solid Mario Kart.
Yeah. Like
Music Park is another one of my favorite Mario Kart tracks.
Yes.
As the resident musician here on this podcast. I really appreciate what they did with that track.
Yep.
Yes, it is very cool. I'm honestly not super hyped on a lot of the Mushroom Cup, but what I found with this track is, or with this game, is all the tracks like kept improving as you went through the cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, the track progression is very good. It kind of like gives you the more basic ones that get you warmed up on the game mechanics earlier on in like the Mushroom Cup.
Yeah.
And then they start getting more elaborate and over the top as you progress.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Just kind of looking through the list at a glance here.
I also very much agree with Neil. Like, you can just pick this up and play it because it's a Mario Kart game. Like, it just... That's really the best way to describe it, is that, like, this just feels like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yep. Honestly, like, if you were going to say...
It's a new bike, you know how to ride it.
Yeah. If you were to say to someone, okay, you want to play Mario Kart, but you want to play a modern Mario Kart game that doesn't have any gimmicks like Double Dash or 8, then go to 7. 7 is just Mario Kart purely. Like, there's some underwater and flying, but that doesn't change that much.
Yeah.
So I think this is just like the best simple Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Which is why I think we all put it in an A.
Yep.
Yeah. It was also the first time the Fire Flower was an available item, and the Super Leaf, which gives you a Tanuki tail that you can do.
It took me so long to figure out what the
I'm
hell
still trying to figure out how to use that thing. And also, they really played into the number 7 on this one, because there's an item called the Lucky 7.
Yeah.
Where it gives you a rotating selection of items that rotate around your cart. You get a mushroom, a banana, a green shell, red shell, a blooper, a bob-omb, and a star, all rotating around your cart, and you can rapid fire them all off, which is pretty neat. They really liked the number 7.
Sure did. I really like the fire flowers in this game, opposed to 8. Like, they're actually really easy to aim here.
Yeah.
Which, for some reason, in 8, that's not as easy.
Yeah.
Might just be the HD-ness of 8, but we'll get into that.
Yep.
But yeah, Mario Kart 7 is really, really solid, and definitely one of the highlights of the Mario Kart franchise, for sure. I can't believe I haven't played it until very, very recently.
Yeah, I want to pick up a copy of this now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, before they get expensive.
Yeah, because I discovered an anomaly with emulation of 3DS and Wii U games when I was playing through. I wouldn't say that my media center is like the be-all and end-all of gaming computers, but it is competent as a gaming computer. It's a AMD Ryzen 7 2700X with a Radeon RX 580. Like, it'll get you through esports titles and probably whatever fighting games you want to play. But because of the OpenGL renderer for Citra, the DS or 3DS emulator that I was using, it's like compiling new renderers with a JIT compiler or just in time. So it's doing it while it is running and executing all of the code. So I was having some pretty wild frame rate issues in Mario Kart 7, so I would like to play this on a system that can run it properly, which
Yeah.
apparently isn't a 8-core with a dedicated gaming graphics card PC.
Yeah.
And while we're on the emulation subject, on CEMU or CMU or however it's pronounced, CEMU, the Wii U emulator I was using, it also was using a JIT compiler for shaders for rendering, and I don't know if it was just like a difference in how they did it, but like their real-time compiling of shaders for that game for Mario Kart 8 was like so much less intrusive on my frame rate that it was perplexing, to say the least.
Huh. Anyway, we have, well, not one more, but basically one more game to talk about.
1.5 more games.
1.5 more games to talk about. The next up on the list is...
Wait, guys, what did we rank Mario Kart 7 at?
I think we ranked it at A without discussing it. I think it's still A after we discussed it.
Don't stop.
Well, we did say this might be the last episode of That One Gaming Podcast. I didn't think this would be the reason why. I'm about to walk on out of here now. I'll see you later. Anyway, next up, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We're not really gonna talk about Mario Kart 8 in the context of ranking it versus Deluxe, because there are some mechanical differences that are pretty big actually that we'll get into, but it didn't feel like enough to make it its own separate discussion topic, as opposed to just having a ranking for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is the more complete, superior version of it. Anyway, we all gave it an S. Big surprise. Neil, I think you probably agree with me. This is probably the best Mario Kart.
Yep, definitely.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I mean, this is the one that you are playing regularly week after week. So
yeah.
you were definitely the bigger authority on this one. Yeah, Mario Kart 8 is just freaking awesome, and it's no wonder that every single month, this game is almost 10 years old now. Every single month, this game is on the bestsellers list for Nintendo.
It's really
It's just
good.
wild. It's really good. They introduced things like the hovercraft into the series.
Yep. Now you get some low gravity elements, almost F-Zero like at times. Oh wait, weren't there a couple of F-Zero tracks included in this game?
There are, yeah. They had Mute
Yep.
City and Big Blue, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And they're great. Those were downloadable tracks for the Wii U version, and they're just included in 8 Deluxe.
Yep. And
yeah.
on top of downloadables in 8 versus 8 Deluxe, I could not get the Mercedes-Benz DLC working in Mario Kart 8.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I was very sad because the SL300 is my main in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah. Well, that also did some patches to how things worked. I think there were a lot of bug fixes in that patch.
Probably.
So, but yeah, Nintendo Switch version of this is just excellent. There's a ridiculous amount of tracks. They're adding new ones. The anti-grav mechanic honestly isn't super revolutionary. Like,
yeah,
you're just
It took
driving.
me a little while to figure out what it was even really doing. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, the most mechanical difference is that when you crash into other people, you get a little boost, and then there's the little pillars with the blue rings around them that you can crash into and get the same boost.
That's a neat mechanic, I think.
Yeah, I think that's really neat too. The other thing is that, like the underwater driving in 3DS, Mario Kart 8 Anti-Grav just lets them go crazy with track design. There's no limits of physics.
Yep.
And
You
God,
wanna
is it cool.
Yeah, you want to drive straight up a wall? Do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tracks are just all over the place. You don't get the feeling of like, oh, I'm driving upside down, because you're looking at the cart from the perspective that you would be at. So, like when they initially announced the game, they would do camera shots and it was like, oh gosh, you're gonna feel like you're driving upside down, but then you didn't really even do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this game also has a lot of other good things about it. For one thing, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
This is a character roster.
Yes.
It is absurd.
Yeah.
I love it. I really hope, I said this before we started recording, but I really hope that for the next Mario Kart game, when we finally get one, that they just get super weird with it and just approach it like they would approach Super Smash Bros. Game, where just pulling characters and track themes and ideas from all across Nintendo franchises and stuff. Bring them all in.
Yeah.
I want to see 50 different Fire Emblem characters in the next Mario Kart game, so everybody can complain that there's too many Fire Emblem characters.
I sure don't want to see that, but I would love to see like racing down the streets of New Pork City on a Mr. Saturn-shaped table.
They call it Mario Kart Nintendo.
But yeah, just adding characters like Link or the Inklings from Splatoon and stuff, it just opens the door. The door is open. Just let them all in now. Let's make a really cool Mario Kart next.
Yep.
Yes.
Put Captain Falcon in there, since you've put in F-Zero tracks and also the Blue Falcon, and you refuse to give us a new F-Zero game.
Yes.
If you're not going to give us a new F-Zero game, at least give us the F-Zero stuff in a Mario Kart game.
and then bring back character-specific items and give Captain Falcon the Falcon Kick, where it basically functions like the Bullet Bill, only it's him just doing a giant Falcon Kick flying across the map.
Yeah.
See, Nintendo, we're giving you ideas here.
Yeah. It's free real estate.
Free real estate. Yeah, no, this is definitely a really good one. Some of the tracks are just amazing, too.
Baby Park is back. It's so good. It's so good.
Anti-grav.
Yeah.
Somehow crazier with the anti-grav.
It's so good.
They didn't add a ton of new items, but the notable thing is definitely the super horn, because
I never get it at a good time.
So it's a defensive weapon and an offensive weapon is what's cool about it. I find it really useful.
Can you deflect a blue shell with it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why it's good.
Changes things.
Yeah.
I always get it when I'm in a good position and get kind of annoyed because I think that I need to be close to somebody so that way I can blast it and send them spinning or something like that.
Yeah, you can do that, but it's also a defensive weapon. It blocks any projectile, any attack, including a blue shell. So,
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Another tool to keep Becca from putting me in second place.
There you go.
She's terrifying. I love you, Becca. You scare me at Mario Kart since I taught you how to drift.
You created a drifting monster.
I did.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the best game in the series for me. Double Dash is great, and it'll is for me. Love some of the mechanics, but Mario Kart 8 just has way more tracks. solid track listing, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
My dad will just go around and look at things in this game sometimes.
It's such
Go
a
on a
good looking
nice
game. It's
Sunday
such
drive.
a fun
Yeah,
game.
right.
There's
And it's on the Switch, so like you
yeah.
can bring it around with you. It's like a
Yeah.
handheld game.
There's like limitless customization, limitless character roster options. It's so much fun.
My only real issue with it is that everything starts unlocked. I wish that you could unlock tracks like you do in some of the other games.
Yeah.
'Cause
The coin collection to unlock stuff in 8 Deluxes.
yeah, because all you're getting is car parts, which would be cool, but like
A lot of the car parts are like the same stats with a different model slapped on them.
yeah, it's not super impactful when you get more vehicle customization.
Yeah.
And and not unlocking tracks is kind of a bummer for me. Because that was one of the driving factors of playing Mario Kart, which we ended up still playing this one a ton because it is just so good.
Yeah.
But I kind of would have liked the let's get through this game and unlock all the tracks and be able to be like, oh, this one's cool and new. I haven't seen this one. Instead, you just can say, okay, there's a ton of tracks. Let's pick one.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of putting all of the tracks into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it would really be cool to see the Mario Kart Arcade Grand Prix game tracks put into this game, because arcades are far and few between around us.
Yeah.
So, like, finding one of these machines to play the arcade games is very unlikely for the three of us. Have you two ever seen one of the arcade GP machines in the wild?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't go to arcades very often.
Yeah. I saw it, I believe it was Arcade GP 1 in the wild exactly one time, and I didn't have enough time or the cash to get the credits to play it exactly once at Pizza Planet in Disney down in Florida.
Oh.
And that was the only time I ever saw one of those machines.
Wow.
I bet when I went to Disney World, I saw that too, because I remember Pizza Planet. But I probably didn't play it either. Yeah.
In hindsight, it's something I wish I could have played, but like it's infuriating. Because arcades are somewhat of a rarity, at least around here in Michigan. There's apparently a arcade over in Sterling Heights that has a like trio of F-Zero AX machines.
Ooh.
Yeah, honestly, the closest thing we have to arcades here is like the
like the barcades, like Dave and Buster's, stuff like that.
Malls, I think our malls around here have one of them has an
arcade. I mean, some of them, I guess some of them have like a couple cabinets here and there. Nothing like spectacular, really. That makes me go, oh man, I gotta go to the freaking mall and play this arcade game. Is usually like a random light gun game or something like that.
Yeah.
There is a arcade called Rocket Arcade that actually seems like it has a pretty cool game list. And,
oh yeah, we were supposed to check that place out sometime.
Yeah.
We were going to that one day that it started raining, remember?
Yeah. How could we not check it out? It's called Rocket Arcade. That definitely means it's Rocket Arcade or Rocket Game Corner, and we need to rescue the Pokemon out of there.
Oh man, they got Mortal Kombat 2, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Space Invaders.
Yeah. Pac-Man Cabaret Cabinet.
Star Wars Trilogy.
Centipede, Dig Dug, Defender, Galaga.
Wait, they have the Simpsons arcade.
Oh, Yeah, we definitely need to go.
We
to
gotta
this
go.
arcade.
We gotta go down there sometime. Okay. Yeah.
Too bad
Anyway.
it doesn't have a Mario Kart GP arcade set up, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's how I ended up checking out what their game list was to start with. Was like,
Yeah.
hey, by some small chance, does this arcade happen to have a Mario Kart cab?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mario Kart 8's really good.
Yep.
Big
Now
surprise.
let's go in the opposite direction.
Let's go in the complete and total opposite direction. We just talked about the best Mario Kart game. Now let's talk about the worst Mario Kart game that we are going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this
we're
isn't. I know our criteria was basically mainline. This isn't technically mainline, but there's so little barrier to entry for getting this one because it's free to download on any smartphone. We're like, you know what? We'll try it out. We'll throw it on this list. And yeah, it kind of basically just serves to give us a reason to have a D tier here because it's Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It is definitely a mobile game.
Yep.
That was designed to be played in portrait mode with one hand.
Mhm.
It's not great.
Yeah.
And that's before we get to the gacha and the microtransactions that they have. Apparently, they started to phase out the loot boxes. I think I just saw an update recently that loot boxes are going away, but still, it doesn't change how the game plays.
Yeah.
If you check out the Rainbow Road video I put in the doc, and go to Rainbow Road on tour, it doesn't have a railing, but because of the way the auto steering is, that they borrowed from Mario Kart 8, you can't fall off.
Thanks. I hate it.
so that's dumb.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know about you guys, but in Mario Kart 8, I turned the auto steer off because I like being able to steer.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, auto acceleration is really dumb too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If all you want to do is move the stick a little bit and press the fire button, I guess you can play Mario Kart that way, but I'm certainly not going to.
Yeah.
It's I can't accelerate, I can't steer. What am I doing?
Yeah. I mean, you can steer a little bit in Mario Kart 8. It's just as soon as you go off the track, it's you can't do things.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, and the steering in Tour was really, really difficult to get any kind of grip on.
Yeah.
Because it's just swiping.
It's swipe based, yeah. So if you swipe just a little bit too far, next thing you know, you're driving off into the ditch.
Yeah.
But it's auto steering, so you can't
drive
off.
Yeah, it's just it's not good. It's just not good.
Yeah. I believe the independent consensus from the three of us was we played through the tutorial and then quit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That was all I needed to see.
Yep.
It's like you play through the tutorial with the really, really awful controls. You are greeted by gotcha.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's mobile Mario Kart. I've seen all there is to see here.
Yep. Turn the knob to get your prize capsule and then be on your way.
Yeah. Anyway.
Mario Kart doesn't work for me as a gacha game.
No.
At least in terms of gacha games, I'm not big into them, but I have played Mega Man X Dive, and as a gacha game, I think that is a better gacha game because at least it's got Mega Man platforming aspects down. You can walk left and right and shoot and jump and wall jump just fine. It plays like Mega Man X would. This doesn't play like Mario Kart would.
Yeah, I think Nintendo's issue right now with their mobile games, for me, is their insistence on making it play with one hand. Super Mario Run could have been better if it wasn't like that, and not portrait mode. I don't mind playing touchscreen games with a stick or a circle pad on the screen and buttons. That works okay.
Yeah.
I find it worked best with Sonic just because Sonic has the one button and Sonic's so forgiving compared to other
Yeah.
platforming games.
No
So,
offense to the Sonic games, but yeah, they could like be ported to the Atari 2600 and there wouldn't be issues with the controls.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I was doing the Knuckles playthrough of Sonic 3 and Knuckles for that one game, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, go check out that episode.
Yeah.
That is episode 8 in the archive.
Yes.
I found that I had to push 2 buttons sometimes instead of 1 button. Because, like, if you release the button, then Knuckles' glide would start really low, and that's not great. But if you held the jump button and then pressed one of the other 2 buttons that does the same thing on the gamepad, then you could do a glide out of a full height jump, and that was super useful for several places.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, we should probably do a quick recap on our rankings here and move along now that we have concluded and talked about our final game here. So, to recap, for Neil, because he wasn't paying attention, and for our listeners, if they just want another recap here, because it has been another long episode. We're getting really good at those, apparently.
Yeah.
At D tier, Mario Kart Tour.
Yep.
At C tier, we got Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart and Mario Kart Super Circuit. At B tier is Mario Kart 64 and Mario Kart DS. At A tier, Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart Wii. At S tier, the best of the best, Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart Double Dash. I like how, aside from the...
Wait a second.
I like how, aside from Mario Kart Tour being in D tier all by itself, we have 2 for each rank.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, I think I called this tier list perfectly because I think that's just my tier list.
Yeah.
What?
You're right.
You even have it in order of the way we placed it.
Oh my god. I'm the winner.
Lucas wins.
You win a prize.
Wow.
Which is a Wii. Mario Kart
Congratulations.
Yeah. Wow, boy, do I know my Mario Kart, I guess.
I guess. Wow. That's actually really funny. Oh. Wow.
All right.
Way to go. Let's move right along to our weekly Link to the Past. This week, turning 20 years old today on the date of recording, October 10, 2022. We have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, which was on the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, Xbox, and PC. Released on October 2 of 2002. Do you feel old yet?
Yeah.
Surprise. It's a racing game.
In our episode about racing games, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. To this day, I still think this is one of my favorite Need for Speed games. My brother and I sank hours into the PS2 version, just starting a race, flipping our car around into reverse, because this was before the game started yelling at you and flipping you back around the proper way if you started driving in reverse. And we just drive around in reverse and see who got caught by the police first. And it was the most fun we've ever had with one of these games. So much fun. And they had, I think it was a 2001 Mustang Cobra R. That was my favorite.
That makes sense.
I love this game. And every Need for Speed game after this, like not counting Need for Speed Underground because it was kind of a different style, but every mainline Need for Speed game after this has just kind of disappointed me because none of it really seemed to capture the magic of this one.
Did that one have an open world? I never played this one.
No. This
Okay.
was, you just select a track and then you race, and then there's like police and stuff that try to arrest you.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
you could drive in reverse, and it was so much fun. Because then the race just never ends. You just keep on driving, and whoever gets arrested first loses. It's so fun. So fun.
Yeah. Need for
Yeah, Hot Pursuit's kind of regarded as, I think, the last of like the classic Need for Speed games.
Yeah.
It's
After
kinda-
this was, I think Underground was the next game in the series after this one.
Yep,
I believe
and
so.
that's kind of when the series introduced the open world and then started doing
Underground did not have open world.
No,
No,
I don't think the open world. I don't think the open world came in until Most Wanted.
Yeah,
Oh.
It was Most Wanted. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And then Underground 2 had open world.
Did it?
Mhm.
Now that might be what I'm thinking then.
Most Wanted also didn't let you do open world in 2-player, but the 2-player tracks were actually kind of shoddily programmed, and there was lots of barriers you could glitch through and just go into the open world in 2-player,
Nice.
which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed both Underground and Most Wanted. Need for Speed back then was just really solid most of the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think only Need for Speed title that I have currently is Need for Speed The Run, and it's all right.
I might actually have a copy of Underground now.
I think I got a copy of Heat for free on PlayStation Plus recently.
Is that the new one?
It's newer.
Newer, yeah.
That might be the most recent one.
I bought a copy of the PC version, like still shrink wrapped, for like $3 at a garage sale. And because it was still shrink wrapped, I was able to redeem the origin code for it, so
Nice.
I don't even have to use the disc.
Yeah, Need for Speed Heat was the most recent one, though there are rumors of a new game that will be getting announced very soon here, I think. I think it leaked out or something like that, because that happens a lot these days. Forget what that was supposed to be called, but yeah, there's supposed to be a new Need for Speed coming out really soon. Whether or not it will be as great as my nostalgia says Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 was, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, The Run was average.
Yeah, it's been very rocky for this series in recent years.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever heard of like the Gumball 1000 or whatever it is, it's basically what Need for Speed The Run is. It's just a cannonball from San Francisco to New York.
Anyway.
Yep.
Shall we wrap things up here, finally?
Yes.
All right.
You mean you didn't want to talk more about Mario Kart?
I don't even know how long this episode is because of the break that we took. But it's probably getting up there. So that's going to bring us to the end of episode 14. To the listeners, if you're still here, thanks for listening. What's your favorite Mario Kart? How does our ranking match up with yours? We'd love to hear from you. You can email the podcast at fans.togp@gmail.com and let us know, as well as ask any other questions that you might have, and we'll probably read and respond to it on a future episode. But anyway, Lucas, where can we find you outside of the podcast?
Find me on YouTube at Carnival9, that one gaming podcast. I upload long plays of the games that we do for our That One Game series. And then you can also find me on Twitter if you really want to. At Karn_evil_999.
All right. And what about Neil? Where can we locate you?
I am on YouTube and Twitch as VMK9. Just the URLs, twitch.tv/VMK9, and the same for YouTube. And I am also on Twitter at IamVMK9. I do weekly streams for Minecraft on every Monday. Starts around 6 or 6:30. Come hang out with me and some of the members on my Minecraft server. Right now, we're still doing our survival challenge, and that's getting towards the end. We have Silk Touch picks and everything, so we're doing pretty good. Come check it out every Monday.
All right. And as for myself, if you are listening to this on YouTube, you're already in the right place. That is youtube.com/deliciousmorsels. And I am also on Twitter at deliciousmorsel. There's only one morsel on Twitter because character limits, man. They suck.
You need a 5-letter character or 5-character name now.
Yeah. And
That's
as
fun.
always, if you liked what you heard here today, please be sure to hit the subscribe button where that's an option. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts because I hear they like that stuff. Hit the like button if that's a thing, and feel free to share this episode with a friend. We'll be back in a couple weeks with another episode, but until then, have a wonderful rest of your day, and remember,
Play for the cows.
Stay for the Bears.
Luigi's number one. Luigi's number one. Luigi's number one. Luigi's number one. Luigi's number one.